numerous data has shown that Christianity is declining and will decline further in the Western world. And what is taking its place is the rise of Islam. Now, what is interesting is that many Christians believe that if you have loads of people in your church, then God must be blessing you. In other words, popular Christianity teaches that where there are multitudes, then it means you must be preaching the truth, okay, because God is blessing you. So we could argue, is God blessing Muslims because their religion is spreading throughout the whole of Europe? Of course not. If you look at the fall of Jerusalem, where Christ prophesied that Jerusalem would fall, okay, in fact Jeremiah also warned what would happen, to the Jewish land. He said it will be taken from you as a punishment, okay, for disobedience. But the people didn't believe, okay, and obviously in AD 70, Jerusalem fell, okay? So this is one of many ways that God will punish a nation. He will hand it over to foreigners. But that does not answer the question. Why is Christianity failing? In the West, surveys shown that in Britain now, those who identify themselves as Christians is becoming narrower, and those who call themselves pagans or non-religious affiliate is pushing towards 80%. That's 80. It's quite alarming really, because what it tells you is that before Europe was seen as a Christian continent, okay, and America was regarded to be God-fearing, you can find God on the dollar bill, in God we trust. And this just about surmises what religion means to Americans. You find it on the back of a dollar bill. However, despite this, Islam, they predict or they believe it will spread throughout Britain and America while Christianity declines. Let me give you some quotes from Christians why they stop believing in God. And that is number one, one woman who said she lost her father to cancer and her prayers failed. Another one said they couldn't work out predestination and creationism. In other words, her pastor failed her. Her pastor, while collecting tithes, her pastor could not deal with her concerns.
I better walk on this money. Woo! 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 Get some anointing. You put some up here. Woo! Woo! Put some money. Put some anointing on this money. You put something up here. Woo! Prosper. Prosper, I said. Woo! 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 Hey! Woo!
You see, a lot of Christians are leaving the churches because they natural curiosity and questions are not being answered by the pastors who are busy collecting the tithes. However, you then have to ask yourself a question, and that is, if I having a conversation with my brother or my sister or my mother, and then suddenly they don't do what I don't want, then suddenly I say, oh, you don't exist, and suddenly I walk away, and they say, oh, what happened to your brother, your sister, your mother? And I say, oh, they don't exist. They say, are you sure they don't exist? I'm saying yes. Did you have a relationship with your mother, your brother, and your sister? And I says, no, I didn't. So in other words, I was in a delusional state. Either that or I did have a relationship with my mother, my brother, and my sister. I find it quite interesting that a lot of Christians are now saying they left Christianity quite easily. In my book, where is it? I left Christianity and found Christ. I tried running away, and when I first became a Christian, many occasions, and I couldn't. It makes you question, how is it you can leave like that so easily? Something does not make sense. However, you see, what I want to go into is this. The church has failed as an institution. Hence why many Christians either live in a church or they're worshiping God in their own homes. Because the church has become big business. The church has sold out to the New World Order. The church has become lukewarm. Many young people said they live in the church because the church is against trans. You see, despite, the Islamic religion, if you like, the Muslims are not going to twist their scriptures to suit the trans. To this date, so far, so the day the Muslims start to appease the New World Order like Christians, the day when Muslims start to dilute their Quran like we have the Bible, then Islam will stop growing. The day, they already did it during the vaccine, when all the imams came forward and claimed there was a verse in the Quran that says you can take the vaccine. So, the Muslims, they're not perfect. They too can fall for the New World Order before they start feeling good. Right? They too can fall for it. They did with Bill Gates. So what I'm saying is, when you are in the position where you compromise truth, people start to lose trust in your credibility. People start to stop trusting you. They begin to question, why am I following this organization when you compromise? What exactly are you about? Hence why today Christianity has become nothing more than prosperity preaching. They're now becoming pro-gay, pro-trans. And it's funny, since the church has become liberal, that was when the church started to decline in numbers. The church was strong during persecution. That's when the church started to grow, like they do in the Middle East, in Muslim countries, where the churches are growing under persecution. But in the West, like Laodicea in Revelation, they try to attach themselves to paganism, to pagan gods, to political correctness. They try to assimilate into pagan cultures and pagan activities like Christmas. And that's the reason why the Christian churches are declining, because new members are not joining it. They think, well, the church now mirror images the world. What am I going to church for? I might as well listen to my politician. I get motivational speaking from Boris Johnson, from Rishi Sunak, from Biden. I can listen to their message and hear the same ones in the church. I don't hear nothing different apart from the church will put a footnote as, God, as a footnote, just to make it look religious. And, the church has to answer why they are declining. Yet the mega churches that don't preach Christ are growing. The mega churches where they indulge in Satanism are growing. but the genuine churches are dying off? Well, the answer is in your own book. The answer is in your own book. Where he says, narrow is the way that lead to life, and few go to hell. Few they be that find it. And broad, there are many people that have lost their faith. There are many people that are saying, I don't want to believe in God anymore. And broad is the way that lead to destruction. Your pastors that are taking your tithes every Saturday and every Sunday, and as a result, they can't even answer your questions. Yeah, they're taking your tithes. They call themselves man of God, woman of God, whatever, and they can't even answer your curiosity. Call themselves experts. They're experts, all right. They're experts on watching people losing their souls. They're experts in that while they're getting rich and fat. But Islam is taking over because political correctness has swept its way into the church. Political correctness, and the pastors are afraid to preach the truth. And as a result, many young people say, well, there's no difference between listening to a politician and listening to a pastor. I might as well leave the church because I can get motivational, spiritual upliftment, from my local chemist. My GP. They now trained in motivational speaking, making you feel good. Why go to church? And that's why the numbers are declining. And that's why Islam is taking over at this moment. Because the Muslims are not going to compromise for the LGBTQ, but Christians will. Christians are becoming politically correct because they're a charity. I wonder if Muslims are charity, if Islam is a charity. That should be interesting. If Islam is a charity, maybe I need to write to the charity head office and see if they treat Islam the same way they treat Christianity, or treat Muslims the way they treat Christians. I need to research whether Islam, the religion of Islam is a charity. Because that's what happens when you sell out. That's what happens when you call yourself a charity. You're answerable to the government in order to make sure you keep your charity code. I could do how the black churches, since they became a charity, how the black churches moved towards prosperity preaching. It's all to do with the charity code. They had to justify their existence. And apart, unless you're doolally and you don't understand the Bible, then you're going to fall for this prosperity preaching, while the next generation is saying, well, I don't want Christianity. This is what it is, begging me for money week after week, and you can't even produce a miracle. You can't even raise one dead person from the dead. You can't even heal a broken toenail. You can't even heal a headache. Yeah, you're talking about supernatural signs and wonders. As this woman says, her father died of cancer, and she had no answers. Yet the pastor wanted her tithes. And unless you're in Africa, the back end of Africa, you can't read and write, then that kind of tricks will work. It will work. But people, we got access to information and Google. We got access to technology. People all have to do is press one button and start questioning and researching. And you can't answer. Those who are, have curiosity, you can't answer it. Yet you will take their money. You will take their tithes week after week after week. And that's why Islam is growing, because the church pastors have failed. They have failed. And they predict that Islam will sweep over Europe and Britain and America. And I can see it. Christianity is dying in Europe. It is dying. And the church pastors are to blame for it.